Here we go. So this is it. I am Michelle Sandford. I am the developer engagement lead for Microsoft in Australia and New Zealand. This means it is my job to engage with developers. So if you want to know how to code, if you want to get into coding as a career, then I'm helping all of those people, and I'm encouraging everyone to build on Azure. Those are all my socials. That QR code will take you to all of them in total, as well as those that are just listed below. Okay, so what this is a little presentation that I do that talks to you about all the different careers there are in tech. There are actually a lot more than I will go through today. I have put a lot of them up there, but I've taken a lot of them and hidden them because there's just so many. And I don't think when I was your age, I ever realized how many there were and like how many choices there are. And I think even today, there are so many that it's not at all obvious. I don't know how many of you watch how many of you watch Harry Potter? Um, when a few years ago, when my cousin was 10, we read all of those Harry Potter books together, and it was really, really fun. And in the Harry Potter books, they make photographs come to life. So this is actually a picture that is not of me. It's a picture that AI created of a potential me. So this is Viking Michelle. And then I used another piece of AI to animate that image. So it made the photo come to life. And that's a really cool thing that you can do. It's especially cool for, you know, something you can do for your parents, for example. So you might you might find an old picture of your grandparents or your great grandparents and animate that photo, and then they could have their parents like waving at them from their wedding photo. It's pretty cool. And I used the My Heritage app to do that because I know that's what you're all thinking. Which app did you use, Michelle? I used My Heritage to do that. And I did that for free just with the test one. So obviously you can't, it's good to just test all the different softwares and not give them your money yet because you don't have money yet. Now, what is Microsoft doing? So I work at Microsoft, and I think we're one of the coolest companies to work for right now because we are integrating generative AI across all of our tools and systems. So all of the boring tasks can be done by the computers, and we get to focus on the fun stuff. Microsoft invested initially $10 billion in a company called OpenAI. They've probably given them more money since then because they seem to be a pretty good bet. Um, they're the company that invented ChatGPT, and you've been living under a rock if you haven't heard of ChatGPT. It is definitely leaping us forward in the way that we work. So I asked ChatGPT to tell me what OpenAI was, because if you just look it up on the internet, or if you just look in the Microsoft scripts, it will give you a much more boring explanation. And I said, why don't you tell me what your parent is? And so it said, imagine you have a super smart friend who can help you with anything you want, like homework, hobbies, or even dating advice. Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, that's kind of what OpenAI is trying to create, a super smart friend for everyone. OpenAI is a company that makes AI systems that can do amazing things like chat with you, draw pictures for you, write code for you. And OpenAI wants to make AI that's friendly, helpful, and fun and can benefit all of humanity. So it wants to make sure that AI is not evil, dangerous, or boring, and that it respects your values and your choices. So it's made up of really a team of really cool and smart people who love AI and want to share it with the world. And they also want to inspire and empower people like you to learn more about AI and create your own AI projects. So it's not just a company, it's a community of dreamers and explorers and creators who want to make the world a better place. Do you want to join them? So that's a pretty nice explanation that it has given of itself. I also asked it, so I asked Dali to draw images of what OpenAI looks like. And so I'm essentially asking the AI to draw itself. And these are some of the pictures that it drew for me of what it looks like. It also drew these pictures of what ChatGPT looks like, and it gave me a little explanation saying that it was like a supercharged Siri or Alexa trained on a bunch of cool stuff like books and articles and even the internet. So if you want to answer a question, just ask me and I'll do my best to give you a great answer. Um, that's the pictures it drew of itself. So that's Dali drawing pictures of Dali. I actually don't even go directly to OpenAI, so ChatGPT or DALL-E now. I just use Bing Chat, which is Microsoft's internet search engine. But the new Bing Chat will it goes directly to ChatGPT, the latest models, and it answers your questions in chat form. And you can also create the images in the like directly in that one place. So you don't go to different places in order to create them. So you don't have to go to a different web page to make the pictures and a different web page to have the chat and a different web page to search and a different, you can do it all in Bing. So that's pretty cool. Now, I did want to show you some of the fun things that you could do if you were working in tech. So these are my puppies. Um, the one on yeah, the one with this one. I won't say which one. This one, because I can't tell whether it would be on the right or on the left for you. Oh, there's a little pointer. There's a pointer. So this one is Leo the lion. He's my oldest dog. He's about 15. And this one, baby, Snickers, she's like 5. So she's really annoying to Leo because he's responsible and, you know, sedate. And she's just like a crazy lunatic. Okay, but the most common thing that I get when I say these are my puppies is people saying those are not puppies. Clearly, those are Ewoks. Now, maybe you're all a bit young to know what Ewoks are. I don't know who, but the teachers probably have been watching Star Wars since they were kids. Um, so in Star Wars, there are these little creatures called Ewoks, and they look like fluffy teddy bears. But in fact, when we first meet them, they are about to roast Luke and Hans over an open fire. And uh, so they are not as harmless as they look and not as cute as they look. But my little puppies do look quite like them when their fur grows long. They look a little bit like them. So a lot of people will say those are not puppies, those are Ewoks. And it is a very important thing to know because if it's Ewoks staring at you in the silence of the night, then they might be looking at you as a snack. Whereas if it's puppies, the worst thing they want to do is lick your face when you're sleeping. So I thought it would be really great if I built an app that could tell me whether it was a puppy or whether it was an Ewok. And it's not a singular problem. There are also, a lot of things that look like other things. So, for example, here, is it a kitten or is it caramel? Is it a puppy or is it a bagel? Is it an owl or is it an apple? It's quite difficult to tell in certain lights and from, if they're not moving. And so you can use something called Azure Custom Vision to do classification of objects and tell you whether it is one thing or whether it is another thing. And then you could put that into an app. So that's what I did. in my job. I built an app to tell whether it was a puppy or whether it was a Ewok. Now, when I started out in this field, there was only traditional programming, and it was a little more. It was not as exciting as it is today because you really had to code line by line all of the data and all of the rules, and then say, from that information, give me the answers. So it was quite tedious, line by line, every single line of code you had to write. Then in about 1997, machine learning really came into force. This was too late for me. I was graduating from my master's degree before that, significantly before that. And so I don't have any machine learning to help me, but it was a real leap forward, because at that point, instead of coding everything line by line, you could kind of just throw all the data at it and say, here's the data, and here's the answers, just find me the rules, so do some of the work yourself. We call that indirect programming. So it can make predictions and decisions based on the data and training it's received. But now, in the last couple of years, well, since 2021, I'd say, we have generative AI, and this is a massive leap forward in machine learning because it can create entirely new content based on existing data. So rather than the rules and logic that we program by hand, it can just look at the internet basically, and it can learn from that. Or if you have a massive repository or filing system of information, it can look at all of that, it can learn from it, and then it can create something new. So when it first came out, we had a lot of fun asking it to write stories for us. We asked it to write stories about our CEO Satya Nadella going on an adventure to rescue a princess. And it created a really good story using the context that it knew about our CEO, and that he works for Microsoft, that he trained as an engineer. All of these things were incorporated in this princess story, which was very, very funny and very, very good. So this is the kind of overview of the app that I used to create to tell me whether it was an Ewok or whether it was a Shih Tzu. And it's really very simple. All you need is you just need this web framework front end. So I used Vue.js, which is a JavaScript front end. And within it, it just has a bit of security. It has something to do the work, and it has something that tells you how the web app looks. And then at the back end, you have Azure Machine Learning, and you have custom vision, and you have a little bit of TensorFlow to download the model into your app, so you don't have to always be connected when you're using it. And in the middle, I used GitHub Actions so that it would continuously deploy it for me, so I don't have to manually push stuff all the time. Whenever I make a change, it will just automatically do it whenever it sees a change. So it's really saving me a lot of work with the technology these days. And then this is what that app looked like. If you do want to try that app, you can go to this website and you'll see what that looks like. The first time you go to it, you need to give it a few minutes to sort of, stand up and be available. But as soon the Ewoks appear on the screen, and it will give you a sort of percentage confidence at the bottom as to whether it thinks it's an Ewok or whether it thinks it is a Shih Tzu. Now, I kind of cheated in that. So this one is definitely an Ewok, but these two are also, these ones are Shih Tzus, but they are disguised as Ewoks, which is not really a fair thing to do to the app. It's kind of cheating, but also that might happen in the real world. You often see people putting costumes on their dogs, so therefore it needs to be aware of that. It needs to know. And so this is, there we go. So it got that one correct. It was certain that that one was an Ewok. It got that one correct. It was pretty sure it was a Shih Tzu. And this one, it guessed entirely wrong because it thought it was an Ewok. and it is a Shih Tzu. So, um, how you would improve that in the real world is you would give it lots more pictures to train it. So you would find as many pictures of Ewoks as you could and feed those into the model, and you would give as many pictures of Shih Tzus as you could, and perhaps Shih Tzus dressed as Ewoks. And then you would train it so that it would be able to better predict which it's looking at. So, I'm going to talk to you about a few of the different careers you can do now. So, that one where you are building apps and publishing them, deploying them, testing them, all of that, that is a developer or coder role. It's a really exciting and dynamic career. You get to use your creativity and problem solving skills to build websites, games, apps, and many other things. So, and all of those things can help people, it can entertain people, or it can make their lives easier. So you get to learn new technologies and tools that are constantly evolving and improving. And you can work on different projects, collaborate with other developers, and share your ideas with the world. If you want to become a developer, you need to learn how to code. So there are many different languages that you can choose from, such as Python, Java, C Sharp, JavaScript. Rust is a big one that's up and coming. Uh, each language has its own syntax and rules and features that make it suitable for different purposes. And you can start by learning the basics of one language and then move on to more advanced topics and concepts. So in school, a lot of people start with Scratch and then they move on to Python. That's a really good path. Python is a super um, adaptable language. You can use it for front end and back end. Some of the biggest platforms in the world, like Instagram and Reddit, were built on Python. So definitely you can do a lot of useful things with it, but it is easy, it is clear, it is fun. It can be frustrating and challenging at times to learn how to code, but what you all need to remember is when you were born, it took you it took you a couple of years just to learn how to feed yourself and how to walk. So don't expect that the first time you try learning to code, if you're not perfect at it, don't think, oh, I'm no good at this. I'm never going to be any good at this. You need to do a little bit every day and just keep doing a little bit every day. When you get bored, when you get frustrated, when you get tired, just put it down, but come back to it again tomorrow and you will improve. And after you've been doing that for a few weeks, you'll realize how good you have gotten and how you can make this not just a job, but a passion, a way of expressing yourself, creating value, and making a difference. You can turn it into a career that you will enjoy and that you can be proud of. Um, you should know that I used to tell this story about a guy called Thomas Suarez. If you look him up, he did a TED talk when he was 7 years of age. Uh, no, sorry, he was 12, I think, when he did the TED talk. But he built his first app when he was 7 years of age, and he he earned enough money from that app to buy his own Xbox. And by the time he was 12, he had four more apps in the App Store, and he had his own company. And can you imagine how cool it would be to not be asking your parents for pocket money and just be able to buy what you want because you're already earning your own income? That's pretty cool. So that's something you can do right now. What his app was he made a game called Bustin' Bieber, and it was a whack-a-mole game where you hit Justin Bieber over the head with a hammer. So you see, it's a silly game, it's a fun game, but that gave him enough money to buy his own Xbox. So don't wait to get involved in coding today. You can find plenty of things online to teach you how to do that. Prompt engineer. This is a brand new career that people have only just started recruiting for this year. So prior to this, that didn't even exist. Prompt engineer is someone who creates prompts for artificial intelligence AI models. Prompts are like questions or tasks that tell the AI what to do and how to do it. So prompt engineers use prompts to test and train and improve the AI models, performance and capabilities. So being a prompt engineer is an interesting and useful career. You get to use your creativity and your logic to design prompts that can challenge and inspire the AI models. You also get to learn about the different AI models and how they work and what they can do. And you can work on different domains such as natural language processing, computer vision, speech recognition, or more. And if you want to be a prompt engineer, you just need to learn how to write prompts, which is kind of like what you do when you go to Google. You might notice that sometimes your mum or your dad says, hey, how do you do this? Or do you know anything about that? And you're in your mind, you're just thinking, why don't you ask Google? But they don't know how to ask Google as well as you do. And so when you use it, you get the answer straight away, whereas they've probably been asking all sorts of things on there and it hasn't been bringing them back the right answer. So if you're very good at doing that, that's really the first step towards becoming a great prompt engineer, because you're really trying to put yourself in the context of the computer and understand how it thinks. So you'll also need to know how to evaluate AI models' responses, give feedback, and modify the prompts accordingly. So it can be fun, rewarding, and challenging, but also frustrating at times. Every job can be, but that's part of the learning process. So the more you write prompts, the more you'll improve your skills and understanding. And you can also join online platforms, courses, books, and tutorials to help you learn and practice how to do prompt engineering. Cybersecurity engineer. So my bestie at Microsoft is a cybersecurity engineer, and he is someone who protects the digital world from hackers, viruses, and other threats. Cybersecurity engineers use their skills and knowledge to build and maintain secure systems, networks, and applications. They also monitor, detect, and respond to cyber attacks to prevent them from happening again. So it's a cool but challenging career. You get to use your creativity and logic to solve complex problems and defend against cyber criminals. And you also get to learn a lot of different technologies and tools that are constantly evolving and improving. You can work in a bunch of different fields: banking, healthcare, government, and more. It's good if you know how to code to be a cybersecurity engineer as well, but it's not essential because there are a lot of different jobs within the field of cybersecurity. So some of them involve like social engineering. So for example, you see that in movies sometimes. You'll see someone walk into a big bank building and dropping a USB stick on the floor and walking off, and then someone else in the bank picks up that USB stick, and in order to figure out who owns it, they plug it into their machine. And the minute they plug it into the machine, that stick starts downloading data from the bank. And that's that's one of the ways cyber criminals might make an attack on your business, but also the job of being the person that drops those USB sticks to see who picks them up and who turns them on, so that you can then retrain that person and make them aware of the risks of what they were doing. That is a career on the good side of the fence for cybersecurity. So you see, you need to follow ethical and legal guidelines and respect the privacy and rights of others, and you need to be prepared for the challenges and threats that you might face from cyber criminals who are always trying to outsmart and harm you. So yes, bad and good. There are bad people in the world, but you can be one of the good people that protects against them. But you have to be able to think like a bad person. So if you if you potentially think you might be a bad person, you could turn your evilness to good purpose by becoming a cybersecurity engineer. A data scientist. This is also quite a cool new career that we've only had probably for the last 10 years or so. Before that, people who did this job might have just called themselves researchers or domain experts. So there were always people with massive amounts of knowledge in their field, and they had to try and translate what they had for other people within their businesses. But data scientists are doing that today in a much more exciting way, I think. So they use their skills and knowledge to collect, analyze, and interpret large amounts of data from various sources, such as websites, surveys, social media, um, from research, from books, from internet, and all sorts. And they use different tools and techniques such as statistics, machine learning, programming, and visualization to process and present the data in a meaningful way. It's a really cool job, I think, because you get to like be right there in the data, but you also get to take what you have understood from that data and present it to executives or to customers in your business. So it means you need to be able to go deep into the technical. You need to really understand, but you also need to sort of be a great communicator. Okay? You know, translating what all of that massive information into a more bite-sized pieces that other people can understand. Because a lot of the time, if you do a lot of research and get a lot of data together, and then people don't understand what you're trying to say with it, then it was all for nothing. You know, no one will fund your project, no one will say that it can go ahead, no one will give you more money. Because they don't understand what the purpose is and all of that. So being a really critical and key role is good for data science if you can use Python, that we spoke of before. Also, R is a very popular language that data scientists use, and SQL, where the databases are. So coding is pretty important for a lot of the roles that I'm showing you. Quantum researcher, also quite quite new in business. So there were quantum researchers in universities for sure, and if anyone watches Big Bang Theory, I don't know if you're old enough for that, Big Bang Theory, that in there Sheldon Cooper is a quantum physicist, so he's investigating string theory. But today, this is a real thing, which is still startlingly amazing to me, because when you investigate what quantum is, it really seems closer to magic than to science. Well, how quantum theory works is, well, they will. Perhaps I'll just talk about the cat in a box. So there was a philosopher called Schrodinger, and he said, if you have a box and inside the box is a cat, you have no way of knowing whether the cat is dead or alive until you open the box. And uh, you might even say that maybe while you do not know whether the box is open or closed, while you do not know whether the cat is dead or alive, then it is in fact both things at the same time. That's, like a bizarre thought experiment, but that is exactly how quantum theory works. You have these things called qubits, and they are in a constant state of either they exist or they do not exist, but at some point they kind of both exist and don't exist, and that is where they have the power to do something. And they power super powerful computers, like really ridiculously more powerful than anything that we have today. But because of how complex and magical this technology is, people only have real small versions of the potential for it. So by the time you all are old enough to work in this field, who knows, we will be changing the universe with this technology. Microsoft has some quite a lot of quantum research facilities. I think they had 8 last time I was looking. Not sure, there could have been 6. And yeah, we obviously believe this is going to be a really incredible and powerful field. So you need to For this one, you definitely need to know physics. You need physics. You want to study quantum computing, quantum cryptology, quantum meteorology. Um, you need to know how to analyze data. Like that is a really hard field. But if you are super, mathematically minded and you enjoy physics and science, this could be for you. And here you'll definitely be changing the world. AI engineer, this is my favorite one because I love AI. Um, AI engineers use their skills and knowledge to design, build, and test AI models that can perform such natural language processing that can perform tasks such as natural language processing, computer vision, speech recognition, and more. So I used computer vision or custom vision to build my Ewok app. I haven't used speech recognition. Natural language processing have used to build chatbots. So there's a lot of really cool technology that is very, very easy to use, and you can, build that into your apps right from the start. Um, what else do they need? So it's a really rewarding career. You need to be creative and you need to have logic in order to solve complex problems. And you create amazing things that help people, entertain them, or make their lives easier. You also get to learn about different AI models and how they work and what they can do. And you can work anywhere with this, really health, education, entertainment, and more. Definitely, you want to learn some coding if you're going to do this career, because AI models are like programs that you use in order to make computers learn and perform tasks. And you need to know both the coding part and the AI models in order to develop the AI systems and applications. But, as I said, they are super fun as long as you don't give up straight away. Just do a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, a little bit the day after, and just keep doing it like that. And before you know it, you will find it super easy and super fun, and you'll be able to create things and make a lot of money. However, maybe you don't want to code at all, and you just like talking to people, and you like understanding what their problems are and trying to find other people that will help solve them. So, really good communication skills, good analysts. Um, this is the account team, and each member of the account team has different responsibilities and skills, but definitely they all need to be good communicators, good at forming relationships, good at recognizing what people need help with, and good at recognizing who are the people that can solve those problems for them. They need to have communication, collaboration skills, they need to build trust and rapport with customers, and business and technical skills to understand the customer's needs and challenges and help them with the best solutions and support. You can work with different customers, small ones to big businesses to large enterprises across different industries and regions. So I've worked in the account team, and I worked in global account teams across the world. I worked for Heinz, which was really great because they used to give me like tomato sauce and all the different mayonnaise and baked beans and soup and all sorts of stuff like that. And I loved that. I love sauces, and they used to give me them for free. And I also worked for Anheuser-Busch InBev, which is the largest brewer by volume in the world, so beer company. And I worked for like hotel companies like Marriott, which, it's amazing being part of those account teams and trying to understand what the customers need. And obviously in each of those businesses that were my customers, they all needed different things from us. So it was a lot of fun, and I got to travel all over the world, although I still travel all over the world in my developer role. Yeah, so if you're the kind of person that, likes to ask questions, get feedback, talk to people, work with people, solve their problems, learn new things, then being part of an account team might be the career for you. So no coding in the account team, but really what I'm saying is it's basically the only job you don't need to. Not really, but coding is fun. Do coding too. Product manager, this one's, I guess this has come out of the DevOps era, where businesses identified that people within different jobs have different priorities. And if you don't put someone in charge of an entire product and say, it is your job and entirely your job to make sure this product is the best product we can make it, then people's competing priorities will take them away from tasks that might ensure it is the best product. So they lead and oversee the development and the launch of the new product and all the features that go into it. They use their skills and knowledge to research, plan, and execute the product vision and strategy. They work with different teams such as engineering, design, marketing, sales, to coordinate the best possible product for customers. Because you see, all of those different areas might be fighting to produce a different product. So engineering will really be focusing on engineering the best product from their perspective, but the sales team might be out there and customers are asking for different features than the engineering team are currently planning to implement. So you really need someone with oversight to take care of the whole project and make sure that the customers are being heard, but also the engineering team's feedback around what is possible and what is not possible are being in there. The design of it needs to be nice and frictionless. It needs to be easy, otherwise customers stop using it out of frustration. So this person is really the one that holds it all together and focuses purely on that product. So it's pretty cool. If you're interested in perfection, if you're interested in understanding how engineering and how customers meet and how you can find a way to convince each of them that what you're doing is for the best. Yeah, it can be challenging, can be very stressful, very demanding. But when you produce your perfect product, then you feel like you are a king or queen. Business analyst. I think business analyst is one of the routes that you might have taken in order to become data scientist if you found yourself to be more technical minded than business minded, then you might have gone to data scientist instead of business analyst. But business analyst, a lot of the same skills. You're trying to understand the business, you're trying to collect and organize and interpret data from various sources, such as customers, employees, systems, and markets, using different tools and techniques such as spreadsheets, diagrams, Power BI, charts, reports, all of that to communicate your findings and recommendations. So that's a challenging and interesting career. You're not using code in the business analyst role, whereas in the data scientist role, you would be. You might be working with more diverse stakeholders than the data scientist would, across all the different business domains, all the topics, finance, marketing, operations, and more, different stakeholders such as managers, clients, vendors, to try and help them all achieve their business goals and objectives. So it's different tools, I guess, and a different level of depth, but it is the same kind of people might be interested in those two careers. I think it can be really fun and challenging and rewarding, but yeah, also stressful and demanding, especially for the business analyst. I'd say probably end of quarter, end of financial year, you you get a lot of demands for charts, for reports, for analysis of how the business is going. And everyone wants it absolutely today, in fact in this hour. So you need to be able to keep calm and keep cool and not get stressed under pressure. But if you can produce that data and produce those reports under that pressure, then you do really well in that role. Uh, oh, it's not all tech. If you are a musician, then you can also, there are also tech careers in tech for you. So this is audio designer doing it on his Windows laptop. You, if you if you're aware of the fact that Microsoft owns Xbox, then you can see where this comes in, because when you are building games, all of the music that you have in those tremendous AAA games is designed by audio designers, and not just them. So we'd also need our game designers who, create the idea for the game and the structure and the levels, all the different parts of it. It's yeah, I think it'd be a tremendous thing to work for Xbox. If you want to start that in Australia, we do have quite a thriving game industry over here. Most of them are in Melbourne. That's really like a hub for games development in Australia, but there have been some great games coming from every part of Australia. Game of the Years have come from Brisbane, from Perth, from Tasmania, even from Adelaide. Actually, Adelaide have a really good game company over there. It's very hard when you're working for a small indie game development company, though. A lot of people start this off by doing it as a side hustle while they're working at something else. So if you have the skills to be a games designer, you also have the skills to design training programs. And I see a lot of people in the big companies in town working for those, maybe designing training programs, or designing health and safety videos or stuff like that. But in their out of hours, they're building games which they then submit to competitions, or they might just sell them in the App Store. And as those games build, they might then transition to a games company, or to start their own business if their own game blows up. So you, yeah, don't there's a lot of routes into the games industry, and very few of them start with you immediately graduating university and starting at a games company on day one. But it is a great career. Mixed reality or augmented reality or virtual reality specialists. So obviously you need those. That is a growing field. It is not growing as fast as as the AI field has done, but I think now that we have generative AI, that will probably speed up again. We have what kind of held it back over the past few years has been the pandemic, because we were not able to get the hardware. And so where people want to buy mixed reality devices, but they can't actually get hold of them because the hardware is not available, because the chips are not available because of the pandemic, that's kind of slowed that field a little bit. But I think it will start speeding up again now with the metaverse blowing up and getting a lot bigger. So you might need to have more patience with this field than with the AI field, which is really going fast. But I think the AI field will feed this field, and it will be very big by the time you've all graduated from university. So don't rule that out as a career just because there aren't a huge amount of jobs in it right now. Creative artist. So yeah, where I talked about audio designer, games designer, you also need someone to draw the art for the games. It isn't just for the games. There are so many things that you need creative artists for within the world of tech. And if you just look at your desktops when you're working, you can see how much of that is visual. So there's a lot of creating assets and artistic work that needs to be done. So if you are artistic, do not think that there isn't a role for you in tech. There definitely is plenty of them. This is Miri. This is my friend Miri. She works at Microsoft in Redmond, and she's a storyteller. So if English literature is your favorite subject, you like stories, you like writing, and it never occurred to you that you could use those skills in a company like Microsoft, we employ storytellers. And it is an important part of what we do, because in the same way as the data scientists translate for business users and for executives the data and the findings that they have made, we also need people that are able to explain how things work, but in stories, because people don't want to listen to boring presentations. They want to hear a story about how the world works and how you can do things and how people are changing the world using technology. And Miri does that, and she does that really well. But then this is Donna. Donna, also a friend of mine in Redmond, and she is amazing. She is kind of the epitome of how you don't need to put yourself in one box. So you don't need to. When I was your age, one of the things that frustrated me was the school wanted to know, are you a scientist or are you an artist or are you a social scientist? Do you like English literature? Do you like mathematics or do you like politics? And I was like, all of them. I like all of them. Everything interests me. I don't want to pick. I don't want to say. I don't want to choose, physics, maths, chemistry as my subjects to prioritize on. I don't want to choose English, history, and art. I want to do everything. I want to do it all, and I don't want to pick. And I really hated that you kind of had to. And I didn't. I picked English literature, mathematics, and government and politics as the three things that I specialized on when I was like 16, 17. Because I was kind of, refusing to choose who I would be at that age. Um, what I didn't realize, what no one explained, was that refusal to choose is also a choice. And so when you then try and get into university, you have you can't do physics, because in order to do physics, you needed to have mathematics and chemistry as well. Or in order to do, there were a lot of choices that were cut off because I hadn't specialized earlier, but I don't regret it because I just after I didn't get any offers for university, I just called around the day after all the results were out, because a lot of people get offers based on their predicted results. They didn't get those predicted results, and so therefore they didn't have those places. And I just called around all those universities asking if they had any places, which they always do the day after results day. And one of them said, "Yeah, do you want to do philosophy?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And I had no idea at the time what philosophy was, but it turns out philosophy is the study of life. And that is exactly what I wanted to do. So that turned out really good for me. And it was a really good basis for coming into a career in tech, because we studied logic and we studied ethics, which are two fields which are really important. Logic really helped me get into artificial intelligence. And you can't do AI without learning to be responsible about it. So responsible AI is a huge field, and having ethics as a basis for that really helped me come into this field. So yeah, do what you do what excites you, but also don't give up on stuff the first time you try it, because nobody ever walked out of the birth canal. You took 2 years to learn how to eat, 2 years to learn how to walk. Don't give up on coding because you're not great the first time you try it, but also try and find the things that you love and incorporate those into your career, and you will have a happier life, a happier career, a happier job. You should be happy in the work that you do. You should be able to enjoy it. This is Satya Nadella. He is our CEO. Satya was an engineer at Microsoft, so he built product and he coded, and he has risen through the ranks and become the chief executive officer. I think this makes all of the coders, all of the developers really happy, because they prefer to see someone who knows the products inside out to lead us, rather than someone that's come from a sales organization. Because although the salespeople know how to sell our product, they haven't built it. Whereas Satya built it, he was part of that, and he really understood that. And he also really understood the people that work for Microsoft, and that we were the key. The people that build the product are the people that make the product great. And so when he first became CEO, he sent us out a book that he wrote. Where is it? I have it somewhere on my bookshelf. Oh, here we go. And he sent us a copy of that to every single employee. And you see how it says employee edition? That's because inside he has done these things where he has highlighted some of the text and he has written notes in the margins specifically for his employees, talking about how important it is to create an environment where everyone can speak up and everyone can be their best self. An environment where diverse perspectives are valued and everyone has a voice. That's what it says just here in this margin. So, and what he had highlighted there are debate and argument are essential. Improving on each other's ideas are crucial. I want people to speak up. So that's the yellow that he's highlighted. So for him, culture was really key, and it's part of what has made our company really great. He when he became CEO, he gave back a bunch of patents. What patents are, if you don't know, is when someone has a really great idea, they patent it. So they write it down, they send it to the patent office. The patent office, if it agrees that that is an original idea that no one else has, will say, yes, that is your idea, and only you can make money from it. Now, he came in and he said, we want to delete a few of those patents, because while we hold them and only we make money from them, it means that we are holding back the cure for cancer, for example. And he said, I don't want us and I don't want money to be the reason that we don't cure cancer. So he cancelled those patents so that people could continue to research without having to pay for that particular idea. So and when he did that, the stock market said, you can't do that. You can't give stuff away for free. You'll never make money like that. But during his reign, we have become a $2 trillion company, which we would, I think, we were not the first company to make $1 trillion, but I think we were the second. And we have more than double that now. And with that mindset, with that give back to the community, also, yeah, he has a lot of us write code for free. So we contribute to the open source community. Microsoft's the largest contributors to the open source community in the world, which means we write code in Microsoft time for other coding projects without them having to pay us for that work. And again, we are the company is making money while he is encouraging people to do things in company time for free. So he's a very good man saying, do good things and the universe will repay you. And that has definitely been true in his case. So yeah, be a good person. Oh, this is Mark. He is oh, sorry, what I should have said about Donna. What I didn't even say about Donna. Donna, she was the chief ninja cat, so she was in charge of the Windows platform, and she had like a whole thing where Windows insiders can speak to her on the internet on Twitter. She also was in charge of the HoloLens platform when it first came out. She is an author. She is a fashion designer. She has her own line of clothing that she goes to meet the people who will make the clothes for her to make sure that everyone's in good working conditions. Yeah, she does all of those things. You don't have to restrict yourself. And Mark as well, he wrote the WinSys internals tools and a bunch of Windows books, and Microsoft bought those from him before he was 30, making him a multi-millionaire. And they said, come in, work for us, you can do whatever you want. So he is now the CTO of Azure, I think. And yeah, he he does what he picks his life, he picks his jobs, he does what he loves to do. So what I'm saying is basically, if you work in tech, what we are looking for is people who know who they are, know what they want to do, have a passion for the work. It doesn't matter to us whether you are interested in literature or music or mathematics or science or any of it, whatever it is, people, whatever you are interested in, there are roles for you in tech, and there are so many more than I have even mentioned today. And I hope that you will. I hope that you will join us and love them.